I'll now go back to our panelists, and I would like to start with Chikogia, who is right here with me in the studio. Chikogia, we've taken about 4 topics already. So, where do you want to start from?
Well, we can just go through a brief run through of them all. If I recall, I think the first one was, of course, the brilliant Toby Amushon and what the girls have achieved for the country. It's a little bit strange that it was just the girls that made us so proud. I think some guys got 1 or 2 medals, but the 12 gold medals that we got from these games were all by our female athletes. And
no, 9 out of the 12.
9, huh?
9
so 3,
out of the 12.
3 were from where?
Well, it was 9 out of 12, I think.
But I know there was no man that got any gold. So who got those other 3? I'm telling you, if we had 12 gold medals, it was won by 12 females. That is the truth. The men I knew had some silver and maybe bronze. But be that as it may, we've heard from Toby herself, and she's told us how her journey has been, with discipline, and that can-do spirit in Nigeria. And she has been able to start bugaing, as you can see on the on the screen right now. But she also said to us that she doesn't let people into her circle just like that. She has a close circle of advisors who she says loves her, and she works very closely with her. I think that is also very key, because she knows they have her back. I think it was that Jamaican lady she talked about. And I'm sure Ese Brume and all the others, Nigeria is in great debt for them, and we thank them. And of course, again, she herself alluded to the fact that whether we like it or not, some kudos must be given to the ministry and the Minister of Sports in particular, who came with this Adopt an Athlete program, which apparently has done a lot of, has helped a lot. We can see the governor of Ogun State has even adopted Toby herself, and so many other athletes have been adopted by other organizations or state governments and all of that. So that, to an extent, is very good. Then we come to the situation of security, and we're being told about the arrests that were made. I think there was a little gaffe where they said there was a man who was actually in Kuje prison when the incident took place, and his name was added on the list. But I think that has been clarified now. But the important thing is that our security forces has gone after these people, and we seem to be making some headway, and we must go the whole hog and find out why such a horrific crime, where people are in church praising God, and you just go there and murder them in cold blood. I think that is totally unacceptable. That should not be something that should be happening in Nigeria today, and we should do everything we can to smoke these people out and bring them to face the law. Again, on the issue of security, we are told that Rufai has now, leaked a memo. It's funny that it's Rufai. It might be a case of poetic justice, if you asked me, because Rufai himself was the one in the forefront of this security propaganda that ushered Jonathan out of Aso Rock. He made us believe that Jonathan was particularly clueless. I mean, I see some of his videos now, and I just shake my head that, how time, just shows it all up. And to think that it's in his own state that he is saying and admitting to the world that large swaths of territories are being controlled by these insurgents, it just tells us that our issues in Nigeria is not necessarily about personalities and all of that. They are deeply systemic, and until we get to the root, and I think, again, if I tie this to what my former classmate, Reverend Ladi Thompson, was talking about, he says to us that it's not about doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. That, has always been termed to be lunacy. But we have to look at this thing more holistically and see how we can deal with it outside just the kinetic, pursuing these guys with guns and trying to eliminate them and all of that. So we have to go and use other methods, like educating them, like, empowering them. I think we have to start sorting out the problem before it even starts.
Okay. Yeah, I get your point. Government talks about the whole of society, the whole of nation approach.
That's right.
The question to ask is that this whole of society, whole of nation approach, often talked about by the National Security Advisor. Why is it that it has not worked?
Well,
that's still an issue that we need to worry about.
If you ask me, I think it's just about ownership of this thing. Are Nigerians ready enough? Has it come to your doorstep to know that what affects one affects all? Because what we are saying is that we are all government. We see something, say something.
Okay.
On that basis, that is how we can proceed.
On that note,
Yes.
Chike, let me bring in Professor David Awurawo. Professor Awurawo, are you there? Yes, I see you on the screen.
Very much, yeah.
Please go ahead.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. I'll begin with the Commonwealth Games. Our guests made us proud. They won all the gold medals, 12 of them. The men won some other medals, bronze here and there, but all the gold medals were won by the women. I'm a sports enthusiast. I keenly watched all the games, and only the women mounted the podium. At which time the national anthem was sung, which is a confirmation of the fact that it was only women won all the gold medals. Tobi Amusan spoke well. She's done all that is required of her, all the virtues that make one succeed in life: hard work, commitment, focus, all of that she's manifested. We can only, pray and wish her well and urge her to continue that same routine, such that she will continue to, go higher and higher in her career. Same for all the others. Esiogene Brume. She spoke something when she won silver the other game, just shortly before the Commonwealth. She said the God that did it for Toby will do it for her. And, she didn't just say that, she was committed. She jumped 6.99 twice. And the last jump, she jumped that 7.00. That is how to do it, So that's what we encourage our people to continue to do, to be persistent, to be committed, to be focused. And like Chike said, we also must commend the ministry. This time we didn't hear scandal of somebody has given them a phone and the phones got missing. The allowances not being paid. I witnessed when all of those took place. They were paying their $5,000 gold medalist, 3,000 silver medalist, 2,000 bronze medalist. That is fine. That's how it should be. It should be coordinated, organized, and scandal-free. So we commend our female for all the athletes, Team Nigeria, and the female athletes especially for what they have done. The lesson for the world need to learn from it. Countries like Afghanistan, who want to keep women in the in the house, in the kitchen. That is not the way to go. Women should be empowered. They should get education the way men are. That is how society will advance. That is how the global system, will make progress. That is the message one can pass to, the global community from the performance of our guests in the games. They should remain focused, for the subsequent games, Olympics, before it's here again, so they can continue to excel. And of course, more athletes should be discovered and added to them so that they can continue to make the country proud in the global community. Security, yes, this is what we have been confronted with. And I agree with Larry Thompson, almost everything he said, about the holistic approach, which the government too is talking about. The government needs to do more to ensure that the holistic approach they talk about is not just theoretical, but also practical. Chike just spoke about why is it, you asked the question, why is it that the commitment of the entire populace to this is not as strong. We need to build trust. Government needs to build trust. Even within the military itself, there are individuals who are sympathetic to the terrorists. We have had situations where, information given by even people within the military led to ambushing of, military men and their death. So trust needs to be built. That when you give information, hear somebody say something, that something you say will not lead to your death. That needs to be focused on very much. There is a place I slightly disagree with Lady Thompson. He spoke of, yes, we need education. Yeah, the economy needs to be improved and things like that. That is what we call human security, that the other dimension to it. But the kinetic, rather than downplayed, should be heightened. Because whether we like it or not, the bad guys will be there. And right now, those ones who are already committed to causing trouble, no education is going to bring them back that quickly. We can be talking about those who have not yet joined, who are about to join, those who are already in the bush, who are causing trouble. We need to heighten the kinetic, intervention to, root them out of wherever they are. And then, of course, complement that with, the human security we've talked about. That is how to get it done. Kaduna, yes, ungoverned spaces have been occupied by, terrorists who are trying to create a parallel government. We heard they are collecting tributes from farmers, and they're making it impossible for farmers to even go to farm in some places. That portends danger for the country. That means that, food security will be in jeopardy, the next year and several years after.
Very good point.
The reason why the government...
Very good points, Professor Awurawo. At this point, I'd like to bring in Professor Bola Akintenewa on all the four major issues that we have tried to tackle so far. Professor Akintenewa, I see you are enjoying your stay in the United States. This looks like a prolonged stay. I hope all is well with the grandchildren. I can't remember the local word for grandfathers going to look after children.
Look, the marriage is all over. It was successful. We thank God Almighty. But let us begin with the Commonwealth Games. I think that Chike Ogia and Professor Awurawo have said that one perfectly. Particularly, I think that Professor Awurawo did well by raising the very critical issues involved. But let us look at some aspects that have not been considered. And on a lighter note, I cannot understand why a Reuben Abati will think that the most eligible possible fiancé of a Toby Amusa can only come from Ogun State, ignoring the fact that the only state in Nigeria where the sun shines everywhere, where the future is bright and best, is Ondo State. So please, on a lighter note, he should not be dreaming of anyone coming from Ogun State. I think Toby should just, without any visa or passport, just travel to Ondo State. God is waiting for her there. But on a more serious note, please, as we are commending Toby Amushan's effort, she raised three critical points that I think we should always seek to underscore. When our own Dr. Abati asked her to explain the dynamics of our success, she simply said at the individual level, she was thankful to God. She said, glory be to God. I think this is fantastic. She underscored the point that her success is not traceable to the issue of a change of shoes, boots, etc. That it was very disrespectful for anyone to think so. I share her sentiments. She's very right. When people do well, envy is there. They will find excuses here and there to steal the success of your deed of hard work. I think she's quite right. And when you talked about her future, especially, I just remember that the Nigerian Institute of International Affairs, under Professor Musa Osage, had put in place a sport diplomacy program, now trying to underscore the usefulness of sports in the promotion of national interest using diplomacy. I think that this is an opportunity for all of us to evolve a sports diplomacy in this country in such a way, not just having a minister of sports and culture, but let there be a diplomacy to back it up. On security, as much as I want to agree with our Reverend Larry Thompson, asking for a paradigm shift and expatiating on the need for a holistic approach, I will agree with him. But the only thing is that the greatest problem of Nigeria is that Nigerians themselves do not know what their greatest problem is. We don't know the problems. If Larry Thompson is talking about a change of diagnosis, to revisit that one, you must know what you are re-diagnosing. We don't really know it. Because for me, as a researcher, when I consider the fact that the government of Nigeria is consciously importing, I use the word importing Fulani from West Africa, from Central Africa. And the governor of Bauchi is telling us that they want to create a home for them. And at the same time, we are complaining about this same Fulani bandits, etc. When I remember that, and I've said it many times on this platform, that Muammar Gaddafi says there will not be any enduring peace in Nigeria until there is a new Nigeria, that the current Nigeria must be divided into Muslim North, Christian South. The government of Nigeria tried to investigate this statement, but they never acted. We don't know what is happening. You cannot have all this on the one hand, when people suspect that our president, Muhammad Buhari, has a Fulanization agenda, has an Islamization agenda. These are problematics. So you don't talk about rediagnosing in the sense that you set aside what is, killing Nigeria softly. And you are talking about holistic approach. Any holistic approach that does not diagnose the fact that these are critical issues, I think is a waste of time. And when we come to Professor Omilabu, I think he made a good submissions there. My concern is that he's shocked. He said he's shocked. Why are you shocked? Why is he shocked? You see, notices have been given. If you look at the statistics, in 2017, there were confirmed, 88 cases were confirmed. And other cases were 198. Okay, 2018, you have 49 cases, 47 in 2019, 8 cases in 2020, 34 in 2021. Okay, and now in this case, yes, I round up quickly. Now when you look at it gradually, suddenly from 2021 to 2022, it began to increase. Why are we sleeping again? How do you explain all that? And on Rothschild, finally, please, I think that we must learn a lesson. Academic writers, including journalists who are also writers, who have sagacious minds in writing, including the same Ruben Abati. Your life is threatened because at the end of the day, the moment there is no security provision in lecture theaters, I normally refer to NI in this case, if you don't put security measures, unlike Kwakwato, something in New York, where Rothschild was killed, was attacked, they refuse to check bags they refuse to put equipment to, prevent metal something. Please, writers in Nigeria are likely to be threatened and attacked the same way Rushdie had been attacked. So there is the need to take medicine against it now.
Okay, Prof. Well, thank you very much. On that particular note, we'll move on to our next topic. And I'm going to start on that topic with Professor David Awurawo. As we go to Kenya, where with almost half of the results from the presidential election now confirmed in that country, the two main candidates are running neck to neck. Deputy President William Ruto has taken a slight lead over former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, 51% against 48%. The head of the Electoral Commission has admitted that announcing the result of Tuesday's election is too slow. The verification of results has been stopped several times after complaints by supporters of the main candidates. According also to results, the results of 141 out of the 292 constituencies have now been confirmed. About 14 million votes were cast, which is a turnout of 65%. Interesting situation in Kenya, still a developing story in Kenya. The concern by major analysts is that this may well go to a runoff. And there's a lot that is at stake in Kenya. And fears also that this should not degenerate into violence, ethnic violence, chaos, and all the worst predictions about electoral process in African countries. Professor Awurawo, I'd like to start with you. Professor Awurawo, if you're still there, please go ahead. Kenya elections.
Well, developments in Kenya are very concerning because the expectations were that by latest Friday, the results will be released. The results will be, announced. And if there will be a runoff, everybody will be aware. So the lingering process of the whole counting and all that is very concerning. Concerning because Kenya does not have, when one looks back to history, does not have a good record of, post-election calm and stability. And it is this kind of delay, this kind of anxiety, this kind of uncertainty, that give rise to violence. So I would like to advise that the government and the Electoral Commission need to be careful. They need to hasten up to count what is left, announce, so that if there will be a runoff, everybody will be aware, and things can go. Especially when one remembers that Uhuru Kenyatta openly is supporting Raila Odinga. And his deputy, Ruto, is running on his own. He's running as somebody, emphasizing the Kenyan dream, an individual who can, from nowhere, who is becoming someone, who is also telling the Kenyans that he represents those who can be something from nothing, who can be a son of nobody, who becomes something. So given the fact that the current president is known to be in support of Raila Odinga, and then the uncertainties are not, they are not good for Kenya. So one will advise that the Electoral Commission should hasten up, count what is left to be counted, announce the results. If there be a runoff, everybody will prepare for the runoff, such that things do not degenerate in Kenya, as we had several times, especially in 2007.
Well, Professor Akintianowa, the race in Kenya is very close. The IEBC, the Electoral Commission in that country, the latest result puts Ruto slightly ahead, very closely followed by Raila Odinga. There is this speculation, as I pointed out earlier on, that there could be a runoff. By the time all the votes are being counted, properly tallied, and we get the percentages. But Look, Kenya is a major stable country in East Africa. What is the implication of all of this for the stability of that country? Where in the past we saw violence, we saw disruption. What are the issues so far as we await the final tally?
You have provided an analysis already that responds to your question, and you cannot be more correct on this again. A runoff can be very likely. What the Kenyan law provides for, the electoral law provides for, is that for the winner to be declared as such a winner must have at least 50% plus 1%. And when, for instance, we cannot have 50 plus 1%, then there must be a runoff. And in that case, the two presidential candidates having less than 1% among them will not participate. All others, for instance, will now come into the picture, which is quite different from what we normally have in the French system, the principle of desistement, or in which case it is only the two candidates with the highest number of votes that will go to the second round. But in the context of Kenya now, as rightly pointed out by Professor Awurawo earlier on, you discover that the incumbent president, Uhuru Kenyatta, is supporting the veteran opposition leader, Odinga. He's not even supporting his own deputy president. What is wrong? Now, the issue there, first of all, is the forensic audit approach that was or has purportedly delayed the announcement of the election results. Because, you know, as at the conclusion of the time, election results had been transmitted electronically to the tune of more than 99%, 99.9%, but they couldn't release any result. Why? Because the party agents, the presidential candidates agents, insisted to monitor the counting. They don't allow the Independent Electoral and Boundary Commission to do that, meaning that, look, all over Africa, mutual suspicion, political governance is always fraught with fraud. It's always dishonest. So the party agents decided that, no, thou shalt not steal our votes. And that is very critical. And when you look at that particular point again, you know, the way I look at the Kenyan election is the fact that 80% turnout in 2017, only 65% in 2022. Why is the disinterest? The point here for us to learn is that the removal of less popular candidates by the Kenyan system should be monitored and learned from, so that in 2023 in Nigeria, all right,
well,
we can have a good, all right.
Professor Akindele, when all of this is said and done, there'll be a lot that other African countries, stakeholders, analysts, talking heads on television, as they sometimes call us, will have to talk about in terms of lessons learned from Kenya. But before we go into another topic, before we round up today, we'll take this quick break and then we'll be right back. Stay with us. You see, this is the Live, the Sunday talk show here on the Arise News channel. The federal government of Nigeria has concluded plans to go ahead with the planned implementation of a 5% hike in call and data tariffs. In a statement, the Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, stated that the increase in call and data tariffs will go on, notwithstanding the resistance from the Minister of Communication and Digital Economy, Issa Ali Pantami. The statement reads in part, and I quote, "The government will begin the implementation of 5% excise duty tax on all voice calls, SMS, and data services, in addition to the existing 7.5% value-added tax paid for goods and services across all sectors of the economy." Very quickly, gentlemen, big problem here. The Association of Telecom Operators of Nigeria, they are protesting. They say this is additional levy and that they will pass it on to consumers. So what it means is that if an average Nigerian uses a phone to make a call or to send a text, he or she will pay more. Chikoga, is this fair? Who is right here? Who is wrong here?
Well, if you ask me, this is one of the hallmarks of this government. Policy inconsistency, never coordinated. One government official will be saying one thing, another will be saying directly the opposite. You know, it has just been happening over and over again in the different sectors of the economy. I mean, the Minister of Digital Economy is saying he doesn't know anything about this. An assistant director in the Ministry of Finance goes to read out the new policy of this increase in tariff for both data and voice calls, which obviously will mean a situation of Nigerians paying more, maybe where we're paying 20 naira a minute, now we'll start paying like 35, 40 naira a minute. But you see, in all of this, that is not even the problem. Obviously, this government is in trouble, and we all know it. We can't even service our debt. We don't have enough money just to service our debt, talk less of anything else for capital expenditure. And obviously, they are seeking and looking for new ways of, taxation and all of that. But I'm sure they know, and I'm not an economist, but this is rudimentary, that taxation will only succeed in killing the economy. No economy comes out of whether a recession, a depression, or inflation, or whatever we've gotten ourselves into by taxing poor people. I mean, 95% of Nigerians, as far as I'm concerned, belong to the poverty category now, because we've totally wiped out the middle class in this country. So it's either you have or you don't have. And who are the people that they want to tax? They only succor the common man has, which is this phone. I can send money, I can call, I can, play games, I can do 1 or 2 videos on it. Then you want to take that away from them? I don't understand what's happening.
Fair enough, Chike, but quickly. Professor Awurawo, what do you think?
I don't think Nigerians should be taxed more at this time. We all know the level of inflation in the country is hovering towards the 20% mark now. Unemployment rate, we also know how high, especially for young people, it is even higher. So I don't think that, at this time, this is a time that Nigerians should be taxed more. It's true that the government needs money, but there are other creative ways by which the government, can make money than to further impoverish Nigerians. We've talked about taking another look at the subsidy regime in such a way that, the excruciating impact on the economy as we have it now will not be. We've talked about looking at the refineries and all the other things that need to be done so that the government does not fritter away what it has on, on essentials at this time. So it's not something I support. It's something that will further impoverish Nigerians, and anything that will do that, I don't support that. I think the government, there are so many other avenues that can be looked into where the government can get money from than to further tax Nigerians, which will potentially further impoverish us.
Well, quickly, Professor Akintenuwa, I believe you are still there with us.
Yes.
Should Nigerians pay more tax?
You ask the question, is it fair? It is not fair. Who is guilty? Who is right? It is the telephone operators that are right. The government is wrong. Why? Because 5% increase means that the ordinary Nigerian will be required to pay a total tax of 12.5% because there is already a 7.5% VAT on goods and services. Services cover this telephone, telephone data, SMS, etc. Secondly, there is the need, if 5% must be put in place, the federal government must be held accountable so that they do not raise money for different purposes to deepen institutional corruption in Nigeria. I submit finally that, look, lawmaking in Nigeria has generally been more protective of government interests than of the people. So instead of talking about hiking prices, they should seek to subsidize, because the majority of Nigerians are involved in the use of data, the use of phone. That is the responsibility of government.
Thank you very much, Professor Akinteroa, and thank you, Chikeoga. Thank you very much also, Professor David Awurawo. And thank you also for staying with us throughout this program today. You've been watching This Day Live, the Sunday talk show, here on Arise News. I'm Ruben Abati. From our entire team here in Lagos, it's bye for now. And thank you very much for watching. We'll join you again next weekend. Thank you very much indeed.